We'll be honoring a model mom this morning, a woman with a celebrity past and a cause that's very much of the moment. Tracy Smith will make the introductions.
You may know her as a supermodel, but Christy Turlington has always had other ideas.
So what were you thinking when you were walking down the runway?
How can I get back as fast as possible?
Her latest project, a film on mothers and childbirth, shot far away from the fashion world.
I was ready and eager for a life-transforming experience.
Christy Turlington's life-saving mission, later on Sunday morning.
If I look familiar to you, it could be because I've been a fashion model for the last 25 years.
But first, Mother's Day with supermodel Christy Turlington. Christy Turlington is a legendary fashion model turned model mom in more ways than one. Our Tracy Smith has tracked her down for some questions and answers.
When supermodel Christy Turlington Burns and her husband, actor-filmmaker Ed Burns, hit the streets in their New York neighborhood, they're virtually incognito, just two parents out for a stroll. But when she wants to, Turlington still has the power to turn heads. After all, she's spent nearly 30 years on magazine covers, in ad campaigns, and on the runway. And all along, she's used that famous face to shed light on issues she really cares about.
If I can get Us Weekly to cover global health, fantastic, because it wouldn't be covered otherwise. And then it's an extra bonus if you actually know what you're talking about, and if you actually, you know what I mean? If you actually...
Right, if you can back it up.
Yeah.
She can certainly back it up. She traveled the world on her own dime to make a documentary called No Woman, No Cry. A gripping look at why so many women die during childbirth. The film made its TV debut last night on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
You know, there were hundreds of thousands of women dying every year, but 90% of them were preventable. That was the piece that made me think, this is the story that needs to be told.
It makes even more sense when you know Turlington's personal story and the luck she's had along the way. At age 14, riding a horse in Florida, she was discovered by a photographer. Just 2 years later, she was on the cover of Fashion's Bible.
I worked with Vogue pretty much every issue. I had some story or spread. I was kind of a Vogue girl for a number of years from that point on.
But as her modeling career flourished, her mom, Maria, an immigrant from El Salvador, kept preaching the importance of education, even when Christy didn't want to hear it.
She kept pushing and pushing and pushing. When I got my diploma, I sent it to her in the mail. I didn't even open it. I just sent it to her. I was like, this is what you wanted? Here you go. So that's the thing I'm probably the most grateful for.
What the world?
After getting that high school diploma, she signed lucrative deals with designers like Calvin Klein, made commercials, even appeared in a few music videos, like George Michael's classic 1990 hit, Freedom. But there was one thing she never liked doing.
So what were you thinking when you were walking down the runway?
How can I get back as fast as possible?
Along with her beautiful friends, Turlington was front and center at the height of supermodel mania. But she says she looks back on those days and cringes.
I ever write a memoir about it, it would be called My Life as a Drag Queen. The 80s were like the worst possible, and early 90s, the worst possible time to be a model in terms of like images that really hold up. I find them quite dated and not pretty at all.
But to Turlington, modeling didn't matter nearly as much as what was happening in real life. While she was going to New York University in the 1990s, her dad, a lifelong smoker, died from lung cancer. An ex-smoker herself, Turlington launched a series of famous anti-smoking ads.
When I finally did quit for good, I knew it was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. My dad, it was different for him. He stopped December 1996. Just 6 months before he died from lung cancer.
It makes me very happy when I hear people say that they quit smoking because of me, and I get that a lot.
And now you want to save more lives.
Yeah. Heck It feels good to save lives.
Turlington found a kindred spirit in the socially active Ed Burns, although maybe she didn't realize it when they first met 11 years ago.
My friend said, hey, Christy Turlington is single. Should we try and set you up? I was like, yeah, sure, set me up with Christy Turlington, of course, why not? I'm down with that.
Who says no to that?
And then I guess when she heard that I was interested, she said, absolutely not, no interest at all. So then about 2 months or 3 months pass, and we both are at a charity event in the Hamptons, and I see her, she sees me across the field or whatever, it was a concert outside, and she immediately does a 180 and heads the other way.
Eventually, Burns managed to win her heart, and they got married in San Francisco.
Did you guys talk early on about having a family, being parents?
Yeah.
We were gonna have a bigger family. We talked about
We talked about 4. And then 1 week into the first one, I was like, I think we gotta knock this down to 2.
When the time came, I was ready and eager for a life-transforming experience.
When their daughter Grace was born in 2003, Burns, of course, shot video of the whole thing and captured something they never expected.
The baby's delivered and you see her in your arms, and then it gets really scary. What was that like?
I had no clue as to what was going on, just that they were rushing to get the doctor, and you can imagine just the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in a matter of a couple of minutes.
The midwife called for backup. They took my baby away, and I began to hemorrhage.
Turlington had a postpartum hemorrhage.
I'll never forget
Thanks to an
the fear
experienced
and panic
doctor,
that
she was quickly stabilized. But without medical help, she could have bled to death. Now she's determined to help other
Fortunately, I got
women
through
who
it.
aren't so lucky.
But I just feel like coming back to this after seeing that and being so deep in that must make this so much more dear.
Yes, it does. It does. I mean, I definitely appreciate every moment with them.
After she's put Grace and her brother Finn to sleep every night, Turlington hits the books so she can earn a master's degree from Columbia University in public health. One mother inspired by another.
And then I sit in the front row and I don't miss a class and I do all the reading no matter how stressed out.
And no matter how stressed she is, her husband says it never shows.
I'm constantly kind of blown away by her patience, how much she gives to them, how she never gets rattled.
That's not true.
Just with me. Never gets rattled with them. It's mostly, and if they do rattle her, then she'll just channel that energy over here to me.
These days, Turlington channels her energy into Every Mother Counts, an organization she founded to help others get involved. And she speaks at events like this one last Tuesday in Washington, D.C. with Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
I set out to learn more and to meet other women around the world dealing with these challenges every day.
She still models and hits the red carpet for her husband's movie premieres. But at age 42, Christy Turlington's found her true mission.
I think mothers are so important. I mean, it seems like such an obvious thing to say, but I think we don't really express that enough apart from one day a year. I think we need to come together and celebrate us every day.